mobile applications and digital tools for media distribution. Mobile applications, whether you are using ChatGPT, whether you're using Grammarly to help edit your script, whether you're using Adobe Reader, a cool Edit Pro to edit. There are people that are experts in using media applications. Is it for page making of newspapers? Is it for editing of audio script? Is it for photography? What do you call it? Photoshop for editing? Is it for editing of videos? There are thousands of media applications that people can become experts. They maneuver them very well so that people can benefit from this application. And there is data journalism and multimedia storytelling. Of course, we know that we are in the era of digital journalism. Many people are now more interested in data analysis, data analytics. There are people now that can monitor websites for big media companies, to know people that have commented, to know the age range of their audience, to know that when people are online so that they can post. People are experts in data analysis now, and even more so, data journalism will help you to dissect data, to analyze data, to put stories together from data. You ask questions to data and you find answers to these questions, and you support journalism practice. This is an area of media entrepreneurship. Maybe you are not even trained in journalism, but you have a knack for data analysis, and then you can partner with somebody who will be able to tell stories with this data. And it is a big area of data of media entrepreneurship. Branding, influence, audience engagement, and revenue generation models. In this era of digital journalism, there are so many areas. The conventional areas of making money in media practice have somewhat faded out. There are new models of subscription, new models of hosting events to raise money for the media industries. There are new areas of crowdfunding, and these are things that people can become expert at it. There are people that could be expert in branding media products so that it sells more, so that you can brand the Punch, the Nation newspapers. You can give them the hype that they need. You can give them a niche, and people are more interested. People will become more interested in this product. You can do that as a private individual. You can do that as a media company. We are going to look at the characteristics of the successful media entrepreneurs, right from our immediate community to our state to even our nation, Nigeria. Number one, a media entrepreneur has to be visionary thinking. It has to be somebody that has vision and he thinks forward. We all know that one of the characteristics of a journalist, to start with, is the ability to nose for news. You sniff it, it is not happening, you can go for it, you stretch your imagination. That is what a media entrepreneur should do. You get into a community, you get into an environment, something is not happening there, you sniff for it. What is not happening here? What can I do? What value can I add to this community? What value can I add? What is the need of this community? You think, you see a vision that another person cannot see. You pursue that vision. Example is Mo Abudu, the Ebony Light media officer, saw the gap in Africa storytelling and created a global platform for Nigeria's narrative. I said again, somebody, for instance, like Mo Abudu, the Ebony Life media executive, who saw the gap in Africa storytelling and created a global platform for Nigeria's narrative. A media entrepreneur has to be able to adapt. Adaptability means you thrive in adjusting to digital environment. Like I said before, we used to have print newspapers, magazines, and then we have the online. It would be wrong and it would be bad for your market and for your business for you to be stuck in antiquity. You cannot be stuck in the past. You need to move with trends. For instance, imagine somebody who was a typewriter in the era where we did not have computers, and then computers came and you are unable to move and transition. You will fast and soon be out of business. So one very important characteristic a media entrepreneur is that you should be able to adapt to change, move in tandem with time, move with trends. The next thing is strong communication skills. Strong communication skills. You have to be able to sell your product. You have to be able to market your product. You have to be able to communicate to the diverse audience of your product. You cannot be stuck. They effectively pitch ideas and negotiate deals. You need to be able to pitch your ideas, negotiate your deals with your audiences. You need to be able to stand tall in communication problems. You need to be able to communicate, because in communication, we say that man cannot not communicate. Networking ability is another great characteristic of a media entrepreneur. You need to build partnership within and without your circle. You don't need to be a shy person. You don't need to be timid. You don't need to be an introvert. You need to stand out. You need to be able to strike deals. You need to be able to build partnership. They call it social capital, whether it is from your social media platforms, whether it is from your classmates in secondary school, whether it is your course mates in the university, whether it is fellow media partners. You need to be able to build network. You need to be able to build a strong network so that you can negotiate, so that you can sell your product, so that you can have a soft landing where necessary, so that you can pitch where you need to pitch, so that you can draw strength where you find weaknesses. You need to be able to build collaboration between people in your industry. For instance, people in the Nollywood need to be able to build collaboration with other digital producers like Netflix. You don't need to stand alone, because a tree cannot make a forest. Another one is you need to have business insights, business vision, business acumen. You don't need to, you cannot do it. Understanding finance, understanding business, understanding economics is going to help you to stay afloat in business. That's why it is very important that we are doing this course for you to have understanding of business, finance, marketing, business side of the media. Media economics is the big part. You don't need to be ignorant. You need to know where you're breaking even. You need to know where you're making profit. You need to know where you're making losses. You need to know where you're striking a balance. You need to draw a line. You need to know where your business is stagnated. You need to know where you should extend connections. You need to know the kind of partners that are driving your business to the next level. You should not just do it alone. You cannot do it on your own. You need to have orientation, a business mindset, that you need to make losses at sometimes. You need to counter losses. You need to make profit to stay in the business. Somebody like Dele Momodu of the Ovation magazine, he blended journalism with event branding to build a strong business model. You need to also, another characteristic is that you need to be a go-getter. You need to take risk. You cannot do business without risk taking. I must warn you, it must be calculated risk. It should not be haphazard. It should not be done with emotion. It should be done with sheer rationalism. It should not be done with emotion. You should not just take risk because you feel emotional about it. You need to sit down, analyze the risk. You need to sit down, look at your plus and minus. You need to sit down and look at what you will gain and what you will lose. But most importantly, media entrepreneurs, they do not need to be afraid to take bold steps. When you see something that you need to build on, when you see something you need to take advantage on, many Nigerian and radio TV entrepreneurs started small. They failed at first, but they reinvested, they re-emerged. They did not allow their setbacks to hold them back. So taking risks and having a spirit of resilience will help you to stay abreast. Now, you need to be audience-centric. I was taught in broadcasting school that you produce for your audience. You are not producing any media product for yourself. If you're editing a picture and a member of the audience tells you, this is what I want, this is how I love my pictures to be edited, it is your place to share insight with him. But at the end of the day, you will have to do what he wants. You need to be audience-centric. You need to look at what your audience wants. You need to know what they want. You need to provide and meet their need. A society cannot be deficient in videography. You go and establish photography, you're not going to sell. A society is not deficient in good public relations expert, then you are giving them journalism, it's not going to sell. So you need to be focused on the needs of the audience, meet the needs, and you will sell. I was recently told that anybody who solves problems, who meets the needs of the audience, will never go into extinction. In fact, even the Bible says, seeth a man diligent in his business, he will stand before king. That means that when you are focused and resilient and dexterous, you add discipline, you add creativity in what you're doing, and you're focused on meeting the needs of your audience, you will stand out. The next thing in this digital era is that you need to be technologically savvy. You need to be on top of the game technology wise. You don't need to be updated. You don't need to be updated. I say it again, you don't need to be updated. The new media products that come out as far as technology is concerned, you need to try and learn. If you cannot learn, you need to acquire the services of the best hands of experts. They will help you drive your business idea. They will help you deliver. They will help you to stabilize at where you are sinking. You don't need to abandon, you don't need to disregard any new technological idea, because the mastery of digital tools, social media analytics, and AI will ensure that you are competitive in the market. Example is that Nigerian YouTubers and podcasters use technologies to reach global audiences. Nigerian YouTubers, even as I'm sitting down to you now, I'm taking advantage of the technological opportunity available on YouTube to reach a large audience through this same course. I'm reaching my immediate students, I'm reaching people all over the world too. I am taking advantage of the technological opportunity made available by YouTube. The last but not the least for now is ethical responsibility. You need to know that the principle of ethics apply in business. You need to know what is good and what is not good. You need to comply with rules and regulations in your environment. You need to respect customs and traditions. You need to treat your audience well. You need to treat people that are working with you well. You don't need to abuse or disrespect anybody. You need to know that the media product you're saving has to respect the ethical values of your community. For instance, you cannot go to a predominantly Muslim community to sell nudes. It will be disrespectful to the ethics and ethos of that community. But whereas there are other communities, if you go to maybe a Los Angeles in the United States of America, you can easily work on a bikini and it will sell. But if you take a bikini to go out and advertise a product in northern Nigeria, is it going to sell? No, that is wanton disrespect for the ethics and culture of that environment. So you need to take ethical responsibility. You need to ensure that trust, professionalism, and then you need to ensure that truthfulness at the cornerstone of your business. Platforms like Premium Times maintain investigative standards, and they have been able to win awards because of these things. You don't need to lie. You don't need to be deceitful. Your advertising products do not need to be deceitful. Your advertising claims do not need to be deceitful. You need to ensure that ethically you stay on top of the game.